Well, howdy, physics loose and inquisitive souls. Welcome again to Dynamic Gravity. Got a very interesting episode that I've been wanting to make for a while now. Could be my last for some time. We're going to dig into the afterlife. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Before I do that, though, I just want to do a quick update on the state of dynamic gravity. CERN did an alpha G experiment to test whether anti-hydrogen was affected by gravity or not, what polarity anyways. And they can't really tell. It's not really good done, but right now the evidence is saying that anti-hydrogen is affected by gravity normally, but it's pretty on the cusp where they can only get like 25%, maybe even 20% of the atoms to actually go down, or my bad, to go up, which they should have all went down if they're all affected by gravity. So that right there tells you the experiment has factors. I made a lot of nasty threats to CERN and promised that I would never stop emailing every single person that has ever published from CERN until they answered my damn question about what they've done to test the state of the positron, and they refused. And so I did. I spammed the hell out of everybody, and that lasted about one whole day, and then they decided, okay, we'll answer your question. Please stop harassing us. Okay, cool, thanks. So I got the top three scientists like Jeffrey Hangst and a few other people from Alpha G to answer my question about what they've done to test the state of the positron. Because that's what I really want to know. And they've done nothing. They've done nothing. They say they don't think it's possible. I then immediately proposed an experiment, taking a particle accelerator, use it to accelerate positrons, only inverting it or putting it in a different orientation, so that way as the molecule, or as the positron goes around, half the time it's going to be going up against gravity and the other half it's going to be going down with gravity, and then to measure the differences and accelerations or whatever. But they haven't gotten back to me. Maybe they think it's impossible, or maybe they just don't care. Who knows? But anyways, I do not believe it is going to be any sort of confirmation of my theory of gravity coming out of CERN ever. They just don't, they're not interested in trying to do the experiments that need to be done to disprove Einstein or prove my theory of gravity. So it is what it is. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to devise various ways to prove that I'm right and Einstein is wrong. But with no money, no funding, no grants, nobody cares. It's really hard to do. So it is what it is. We'll see how it works out. But that is the formal state of affairs with dynamic gravity right now. So let me. Let's go into story time. All right, you want to know about the afterlife. Yeah, maybe you're going to die soon. Maybe everybody's going to die sooner or later. Maybe you just want to be prepared and to know what the hell life is and what is the afterlife. All right. I'm probably the best man on the planet to ask for that for various reasons, which I'm about to go into, that are all going to be laid out on the table here. All right. So this is, if you are curious about the afterlife, whether you're religious or not religious, you're going to want to listen to this. This is very important, and it applies to everybody equally. All right. So first, let's start off with story time. When I was younger, we lived in approximately 2 different haunted houses, and a third house that had poltergeist that was across the street from me when I was very young. So I have been exposed to ghosts at a very young age for decades. I've seen them do all sorts of crazy things. I've seen them move things. I've seen them go through walls. I've seen them materialize in front of me. I've been woken up with them on my face. I've heard stories of the poltergeist where the ghosts like to try and rape the little girl and would scratch her, leave scratches all over her. would play havoc with the lights and everything. Yeah, I've seen a lot of crazy things with ghosts, and one time I even saw my best friend as a ghost, just the night after he died. Unfortunately, from a drug overdose, and I was very, very bummed out by that because I was the one that gave him those drugs, and was contemplating killing myself or doing whatever. And then he appeared to me the very early morning and basically told me, chill out, not to worry about it. It's all good. Essentially what he said. Of course, there were no words spoken because ghosts don't speak. Go figure. And his girlfriend, his mother, also saw his ghost too, within minutes of when I saw them. So, if you think that it was just me, well, you're wrong. It was a lot of us. So, I've got a lot of experience with ghosts, so I'm trying to tell you guys. I've seen a lot of them, a lot. And I've always been trying to figure this out. What the hell are they? Why are they there? Why aren't they in heaven? What is this? What is all this going on? How are they ghosts in the first place? How does this work scientifically? Blah, 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 blah. And there's another story that we need to go into. We want resolution on this matter. So, when I was 10 years old, I was in Denver. School was about to start. I believe it was August. And I was sleeping in the basement with my foster father and his wife, sleeping in the bed just a few feet away from me in the same room. There was a window up along the wall that was just big enough to crawl out of if you needed to. It was at ground level, so the window was just a couple inches above the dirt, and then the rest was terrain below. I was woken up in the middle of the night around 2 o'clock, and I'm laying in bed in a very odd, peculiar position that I've never been in before in my life, and I couldn't move. I was totally awake, but for some reason I just wouldn't move. And right as I started to get paranoid about this, then it happened. An alien just floated right through the subterranean wall, which is also the dirt, where its head went through the open window at 2 a.m. And it just floated. Jerky movements right through the edge of my bed, right to my side, staring at it the whole time. And I take a deep breath to scream, trying to wake up my parents. And he very quickly took his right arm, not his left arm, his right arm, which is odd because his right arm is on this side, right? And I'm over here. So if he was going by efficiency, he's going to use his left arm, but instead he uses his right arm. Odd. He uses his right arm. Bloop! Pits his finger on my forehead like that. From that second on, I have no control of my body. I don't even think I had the ability to control my heart rate at that point. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything. And I'm fighting. I'm fighting for my life. I think I'm going to die. I'm fighting to move, to breathe, to do whatever. And out of the static of life, out of the static of my mind came a voice. It sounded kind of like my voice, my inner monologue, my voice inside my head. And it just kept talking to me. It just kept saying, relax, 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 over and over and over again. So I relaxed. And when I did that, I went out like a light. Woke up, he was still there, staring at me. And we stared at each other for a little bit. I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute, maybe 2. Hard to say. And then he just floated away the same way he came, and he left. And as I stood up in my bed, debating whether I wanted to run outside and try and catch a glimpse of the craft or not, terrified in my mind still, not knowing what the hell to do about it. Should I tell my parents? Should I not? I foster father woke up just out of nowhere and was like, "Go back to sleep, Sean." Right back out. And I'm like, okay, that was clearly the aliens. The aliens did that. They want me to go to sleep. I probably shouldn't argue with them. They're really powerful. So I did. I didn't go to sleep, but went under my covers and I tried my best to go to sleep. Didn't get any sleep the rest of that night. So, why do I tell you this? Do I care what you think about me? No, I don't. Do I want your pity? Do I want your sympathy? No, I don't care. I tell you this because it's the truth, and I believe everybody has the right to know the truth. Everybody. And this is important information. Ghosts are real, and aliens are real. And I contemplated about these two things my whole life. And this is what led me to try and figure out to conquer gravity, knowing that their craft work off gravity. I wanted to figure out gravity so that we could do that one day. So I created dynamic gravity, trying to understand everything, playing by their rules. And I think I did a pretty damn good job. And about 4 years ago, I came to the epiphany and realization of the afterlife, my second goal, to figure out what the hell's up with ghosts. And I feel I did it. I feel I completed that task as well as I completed my gravity task. So, what did I find out? Let's go down this rabbit hole. All right. Bam. Religion. We can't get away from it. Essentially, religion is the science of the afterlife. But of course, as we know, there's really no science involved in it. It's just a bunch of priests telling you the way it is because someone told them that was the way it is. And it was all written down in this book thousands of years ago. And we're not going to deny this. We're going to go into this. All right, we're going to go into this. But I need you to understand that okay, I should probably tell a story here. So I'm going to tell a story, a history of humanity. And then we're going to go into why I believe this story and the evidence I have. Okay. Life evolved on this planet about 3 billion years ago. And over the last 3 billion years, it's evolved into many of the different things. We've had 5 various mass extinctions throughout the history of the planet. Blah, blah, blah. So, our predecessor to humans evolves. From Australopithecus came to Homo erectus. And Homo erectus kind of looks like Bigfoot. They're about 6 foot tall. And the one that evolved after that is where things start getting really human. That's when we get into like Homo habilis, Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, right? So this is all about, I don't know, 100,000 years, maybe 150,000 years. From Homo habilis, right, to my knowledge. I might be a little bit wrong. It's been a few years since I've looked up the exact numbers, but it was from Homo erectus, I think, to Homo habilis, and then to Homo sapien for the most part. And they believe that Homo sapien evolved about 50 to 100,000 years ago. It's hard to say exactly, but give or take. So the evolution from Homo habilis or Neanderthal to Homo sapien was actually a big one. We lost a lot of hair. We essentially became the hairless beast we are now. The only critters on the whole planet, essentially, that certainly have our hair makeup. We have hair on our face in certain places to give us a look and then pretty much nowhere else. This is unheard of, right? So what happened was the aliens, the Greys, coming from Zeta Reticuli, a star system about 30 to 40,000, or 30 to 40 light years away, 30 to 40 light years away, not thousand. They came here and they saw the potential of our species of Homo erectus or Homo habilis or whatever. And so they edited our DNA many times, like 60 times, 70 times, many more, to, in their words, correct flaws in our evolutionary tract. What they were doing essentially was trying to make us more like them, a civilized species that can cohabitate and live in cities and, do great things, be peaceful, explore science, live in harmony with the planet, hopefully things like this. And yeah, they edited our DNA. And just so you know, they don't call us humans. They don't call us humans. They call us containers. Because we contain something. Now, what we contain that they're referring to is the human soul, a ghost, a spirit. That's what we're containers of, ghost. They did that to us. They edited our DNA and spliced in some of their DNA and other DNA and did all this and that to essentially make us into these life forms that are intelligent, critically thinking, and generate ghosts or souls as we live. And allegedly, the longer you're alive, the stronger your soul gets, right? So if a newborn baby dies, not a very strong soul. If a 90-year-old dies, could have a very strong soul, depending on the life they've lived. I don't know exactly what strengthens your soul in life. I would imagine overcoming adversity helps a lot. But I know this. The oldest religion in the world is like Siberian shamanism. It's like 12,000 years old. And pretty much about the only thing they know about that religion was that they ate magic mushrooms, psilocybin mushrooms and whatnot, because they believed it strengthened their soul. Interesting. We're going to go into that later on. All right. So, the aliens genetically modify our DNA, mutate us many, many times to make us the species that we are right now. And we have souls now. But we're still not that far away from being animals. We're still not that far away from being animals. All right? So, what the aliens do is they perform a program. The program of religion on our species. Okay? That's what they do. And you're asking, what do you mean the program of religion? Yeah. Religion is a program that is run on the human species. Because we are too animalistic, we're too violent, we're too instinctual. We don't obey logic as well as we should. So there has to be some authority, some discipline coming in, setting us right. Like an unruly 2-year-old, you have to have the mother or the father come in and discipline that child to make them behave in what we would consider acceptable for a child in a public setting or whatnot, right? Well, the aliens are performing the roles of God in our religion. disciplining us, trying to make us be good people. And they do this with religion. And if you'll notice, every single religion does the exact same thing. It has a set of rules that, do not listen to other things but me, do not whatever, do not murder, do not, commit adultery, do not steal, do not lie, blah, 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 do not covet. Just basically rules that you, human, have to consciously and cognitively work at constantly, every waking second of your life, because you are too animalistic without these rules to act as a guiding light in which direction you are supposed to go as a human being. You would not know. So, every religion has this, and I mean every religion. This is Christianity right here with the Ten Commandments. Buddhism has the Noble Eightfold Path, basically truth. My best, the Four Noble Truths. Here it is. Yeah, right speech, right resolve, right action, right livelihood, right effort. It's all the same thing. Islam, in the Quran, the 75 good manners, commandments in the Quran. What do they say? Don't lie, don't spy, don't exalt, don't insult, don't waste, feed the poor, don't backbite, keep your oaths. Just basically don't be an asshole, man. Don't be a jerk. Don't be an asshat in society towards your other humans, okay? It's essentially everyone says, look at this, Hinduism, 5 principles and 10 disciplines of Hinduism. Here's the 5 principles, very similar to Buddhism. Here we go, that truth, nonviolence, celibacy, non-adultery, no desire to steal. It's the same thing over and over and over. Why is that? How is it that this thing of religion has spawned up all around in every corner of the planet? Every corner. There is no culture that does not have religion instilling morality into them. Not one. Not one. How is this possible? It's random. The odds are astronomical. There has to be something else going on. And I say because it was all by design. Because that is our weakness as humans. That is our flaw. We are not moral. And so you have to have this constant and everlasting threat of eternal damnation or servitude or purgatory or whatever if you don't make the cut, if you're a bad person and you cannot follow the rules and be moral. Then you will be forever punished. And if you can make the cut, if you can do what you're supposed to, then you will be rewarded with a second life in heaven or wherever. Every religion has it, man. Every religion has somewhere nice that's not here that your soul, your ghost, is taken away to. And then you are given a second life where you are immensely more powerful, more knowledgeable, and just better. And you live longer. And everything is just better. It's a reward. It's meant to be a reward. All right? This is what every religion says. And it is completely true. 100%. The aliens are performing the role of religion and God. They are the arbiters. They are the ones who are judging you, whether you're worthy after you die, to have your soul collected by them and their godlike technology to take it away and then to be reborn as one of them. Okay? Now, the alien that we see right now, most of the time, are the small grays. They're like 4 feet tall. It's little grays. There's also the large grays. I believe the large grays are the real grays. I believe the large grays are the true grays of that species. And the smaller ones, they call them sabers. Our government does. Synthetic, astrological, biological, or artificial, biological something entity. Saber. Basically, it's a synthetic robot that's been created. When they do autopsies of these things, they notice things like they're missing entire systems of life, of organs, that you would think that they would have to have, like reproductive organs. There's no reproductive organs on them anywhere that they can find. Also, they're missing things that you would expect that would be common, standard, like an immune system. They don't have an immune system. They're essentially robots in many ways, and with their technology, they are unlimited, but without their technology, they're incredibly limited. And when they do capture the grays, I wouldn't say capture, when it's downed, usually I would say the gray did that on themselves as a test of humanity. But when they interview them, they only last about 1 to 2 years in our Area 51 or White Sands or wherever, Dulce, wherever they're taking these things now. And because they develop bacterial infections in their lungs, and they just choke to death in their own phlegm. So, this is why our government has had a few of these things that they've sat down and been able to talk to periodically, on an unlimited basis, of course. They don't talk. They talk with mentally, what is it, psychically? Yeah, they don't talk with words. It's all in your head. You hear them in your head, okay? And I'm pretty sure they can hear everything you're thinking in your head. Everything. Just like you say God can do. Yeah. Guess what? Every thought you've ever had in your whole life, I'm confident there is some satellite in orbit of the Earth that is recording that and that is being used to levy against or for you in the case that you should or should not be reincarnated into level 2, to a second life as an alien, as a little gray. Right? We get to be reborn as the little grays, but the big grays, the real grays, they are different from what our second life is. But as I've already explained to you from when I encountered a little gray once upon a time, they're essentially as powered up as our gods are. Okay, my man? That thing, it came from far away, straight to me, in the middle of the night, floated like gravity didn't exist, through walls, through dirt, through my bed, controlled my body as though I had no control, read my mind, inputted thoughts into my mind, into my parents' minds, did things. I have a scar on the back of my leg. Yeah, like right here. Right here. I have a scar that looks like an L. And it's from that night. I found it a few days after that night, and I have no clue where it came from. And at the time, like now, like I show it to you now, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera very well because it's been like 30 years, something years now. The scars dissipated. But when it first happened, it was a welting scar. Like it bubbled up, and it was like really bright red. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know. Did they implant something in me? I don't know, my man. Maybe. Who knows? Who cares? All I know is I figured out the game, and now I'm trying to play by the rules to win it. Right? So far, where are we at right now? Oh, yes. The aliens will take your soul upon death, if they like you, and reincarnate you into an alien body. right? And then you will become an alien for however long that lasts. Allegedly, they have an extended life of up to 400 years, according to our government, from some of these interviews they've done. All right. 400 years is how much they can live, maybe longer. Who knows? And if they don't like you, if they don't take your soul, then you think, oh, I go to hell forever. Nah, not so much. I think what happens, they just leave you alone. They're saying, sorry, man, you're not good enough to be in our club. Just enjoy your life as a ghost. We gave you a soul. Do whatever. And then you wander around as a ghost. How long that lasts, I don't know. There are hauntings of people, of castles and stuff that allegedly have gone on for like up to 100 years. Maybe that's the lifespan of a ghost, is you live up to 100 years as a human, and maybe if your ghost is strong, you can live up to 100 years as a ghost. Maybe. But it is impermanent, that is for certain, and it is a punishment. So it's probably not all that great just to sit back and be a silent observer to the human race for one more lifetime and not have any input or anything to say or do about it. That's probably a pretty severe punishment, I must admit. But yeah, but they're not gonna punish you. They don't care about you that much, bro. Sorry, they just leave you alone. If they don't like you, they just leave you alone. Okay? So don't think like they're gonna come and get me. Bro, they only come and get you if they like you. And it's not a punishment, it's a reward. So don't worry. You just do everything you can to be worthy in their eyes to go to level 2. All right? So that's essentially the name of the game. That's what's going on here. Okay? Now, are there levels? Is there things going on beyond that? I'm sure. I haven't figured those out yet. Maybe I never will. But this far, this much, I am confident. I am completely sure about. It took me 20 years of thinking about this to finally get to this point, that I got to a few years back. But here we are. So let's go into a little more deeper down this rabbit hole, right? How is this going on? How are ghosts created? I don't know. But what I do know, I believe, I don't know, but I believe that brainwaves are the key to creating a soul. All right. Right. We have all these brainwaves like delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, right? Gamma being the highest. Well, here's something that you might find interesting. Human beings are the only creature on this planet that are capable of creating prolonged gamma rays, gamma waves. To my knowledge, there is nothing else that can do this. There are things like cone snails or whatever that I'm aware that can produce very high gamma rays for very brief periods of time. But they don't have the ability like humans do to sit down and to really crank up that brain power and be like, yeah, let's do some fucking calculus. Let's carry that math over there, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So as far as we know, there is no other creature on the planet that is capable of developing prolonged gamma rays. Gamma rays are the difference between whether you are a sentient, intelligent life form that has a soul, or whether you are just an animalistic beast. It all seems to hinge on gamma waves. Okay? So, what do we got? We got this brain, this beautiful genetically modified brain by aliens. And it can create, they believe, the way that our brain works isn't that it shoots up into a certain center and then radiates out. They believe it's more of like a loop Like it goes from this to this to this and back, 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 back. So they think that we have these gamma waves or other waves. They're just basically constantly circulating in our brain, constantly, as long as we're alive. And when they give us anesthesia to do surgeries and they kind of shut those sections of the brain off, they're not shutting those sections of the brain off. What they're doing is they're disconnecting the loop. They're shutting the loop down so it's not continuous. It still goes around a lot of ways, enough for you to live, but not enough for you to think or be conscious. So yes, this loop of these gamma waves are very important for a higher intelligent species with a soul like us humans. Okay? Now, okay, so maybe we got an idea of how ghosts are created, and what the aliens did to our brain to get us where we are. How does this relate, though? I don't know. But I know this. The super low frequency in electromagnetic spectrum is very low. It's between 30 hertz and 300 hertz. And everything radiates this. Everything at room temperature, I think everything above absolute zero radiates this. Okay? So we right now have so much electromagnetic radiation constantly just being emitted at this specific frequency that is all around us. It's a field. It's so many streamers of photons that it all just merges into one ambiguous field. Okay? And I believe this is the field that can sustain a ghost. Okay? Because look, ghosts are at, let's say, 35 hertz, right? 35 hertz is a gamma wave, right? Well, these super low frequency waves, electromagnetic radiation, photons, are also like 35 hertz and much higher too, much higher. So they're the same. And so because of that, I think there's going to be some sort of resonance or synergy effect that comes along that just allows them to interplay and interact off each other. I don't know how exactly. I don't have it all figured out. I'm a stupid fucking human. I haven't gone to level 2 yet. But I see cracks in the armor. And when I extrapolate, this is what happened. This is the story, the image. This is the knowledge that comes out of that, okay? So this is very important. So I want you to think about this the way I think about this, okay? If ghosts can only survive or live in a field propagated by matter that is above absolute zero, then what happens if you die in space? I don't know, but I know this. According to my math, that is permadeath. You permanently die. There is no ghost that can survive in space without this field to draw energy upon it. A ghost does not generate its own energy. It siphons energy from the environment. And I believe it is all related to this frequency. And if you have no energy, no field to siphon energy from, you wither away and die, my friend, even as a ghost. Now, what does this mean? I don't have all the answers, but I know this. Ghosts are real. I've seen them. Aliens are real. I've seen them. And I believe our government when they say things that the two are related. You ask me, how do I know? Okay, great. Bob Lazar came out of Area 51, right? He came out of Area 51, and I was not sure if he was telling the truth or not. I thought he might have been faking it because I was like young at the time. I was like, 10? But then Victor came out, and Victor, I knew for a fact was true because the things that he said, like how many fingers the aliens have, like how they communicate, how they move, everything. He was the only one that got everything right, and he came from Area 51, and he vouched for Bob Lazar, so we know Bob Lazar is correct. And here's what Bob Lazar has to say about when he looked through the government Bible at Area 51, the government's database collection that they have, a super secret MS-12 clearance, Saber clearance, whatever, to look at this book under, very, very circumstance. Let's see what Bob Lazar has to say. I want you to hear this so you can hear what your government thinks about the aliens, at least what they thought about them 40 years ago.
This technology that you've learned about thus far was brought here by some alien beings from the Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 star system. These stars are located in the constellation of Reticulum, which can only be seen from the southern hemisphere.
Zeta Reticuli
is a binary star system,
Zeta
which means it is two
Reticuli.
stars,
Don't
and is
forget
located
that.
approximately 30 light years from Earth. These beings are from Reticulum 4, which is the fourth planet out from Zeta Reticuli 2. This is the way star systems were referred to in these reports. They simply designate the name of the star and the number of planets from the nearest to the furthest from the star. For instance, our sun was designated as Sol, and the Earth was referred to as Sol 3 because we're the third planet out from the sun. A day on Reticulum 4 is 90 Earth hours long.
90 hours.
The beings are 3 to 4 feet tall and weigh 25 to 50 pounds. They have grayish skin and large heads with almond-shaped wraparound eyes. They have very slight nose, mouth, and ear positions and are hairless. Any dates in the information regarding these beings were written in a 6-digit number which began with 1623. Since I had no idea what the 6-digit number was for the present year, I had no way of calculating when these beings arrived, or at least arrived this time. These beings said that they had been visiting Earth for a long time and presented photographic evidence which they contended was over.
Does this guy sound like he's lying to you? Does he sound like he's trying to read from a script and he doesn't understand this knowledge at all and he's just trying to recite it correctly? Or does he sound like he's digging the depths of his memory? It's like, yeah, this is how they told it.
1,000 years old. There was an exchange of hardware and information in Central Nevada until 1979, at which time there was a conflict which brought the program to an abrupt halt. The beings left, but were to return at a 1623 date, and I don't know what that date is. With the remaining hardware and information, the U.S. government started the back engineering program.
After
in
this.
May of 1987, some scientists took an antimatter reactor to an underground blast
just so you know, I'm going to show you guys what they look like. I'm going to show you what I saw. What I saw. I'm going to show you. Just hang on.
Perform an experiment. Unfortunately for them, their experiment required them to cut the reactor open, which resulted in their deaths. This explosion was explained to others at the test site as a previously unannounced low-yield underground nuke test. I was hired in December of 1988 to replace one of these men. These beings conveyed information about the capability of affecting the human brain to anesthetize the human body.
Yeah, listen to this.
This is done without any physical contact from a remote source. For this anesthesia to be accomplished, the brain has to be in a relaxed state similar to that required for hypnosis. If the brain is subject to any external stimulation like stimulant drugs or loud music, this manipulation of the nervous system is ineffective.
Ineffective.
These beings said that man was the product of externally corrected evolution. They said that man, as a species, had been genetically altered 65 times. They refer to humans as containers, yet I don't know what we're containers of.
He does know. He didn't say it because he thought it was false information at the time, but he later came out and told Jeremy Corbyn that it was containers of a human soul, just so you know. Just so you know. Now, whether or not you believe in aliens, I want you to know for a fact This is what your government believes about them. Think about that.
As I'm sure you now know, it was impossible for me to corroborate the information in the second section. And obviously, if this information is true, the ramifications are far-reaching, and you don't have to be a nuclear physicist to figure that out. So
Yeah.
before I bring this to an end, there are a couple of questions I should address for you. The first one is, how did I get into this program?
Okay, and now we go
While
up
working
into
at Los
Bob
Alamos National
Lazar
Lab
and
in
how he did
1980.
everything, and wow, he's the man. Bob Lazar is the man.
What was
Okay, now I am going to try and show you what the alien looked like. Okay, this is a video that was no, that's not it. No. Oh my god. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's see if this
All right, we're looking
works
at the
here.
interview suite at
Oh
S4.
crap.
It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens. The figure who is just barely visible in the left foreground is the telepath. And behind the camera is a
Okay, hold
race.
on. Wow, that took me a few minutes. Sorry, guys. I'm usually a pretty technical swap guy, but not today. This is what I saw, okay? This is what I saw that night when I was 10 years old. Exactly like this, okay? And this is a videotape that Victor smuggled out of Area 51. This is how I knew he was the real deal. Because when I saw this, it is the only thing I've ever seen that looked exactly like what I saw that night. And I tried to buy this videotape a second time to have a backup 2 months after it came out, and the government had came and completely shut down Rocket Industries, the people that made this up under some bullshit tax code, and they were never seen again. And to this day, I have to keep this file encrypted on my fucking hard drive, or it will magically deteriorate and destroy itself somehow. Yeah. Think about that. Think about that.
All right, we're looking at the interview suite at S4. It's kept dark for the comfort of the aliens.
Yeah.
The figure
Kinda crazy,
who is
right?
just barely visible in the left foreground is the telepath. And
Telepath,
behind the camera is
yep.
a raised seating area for observers.
Yep.
Although in this case, I believe the only other person present was a military aide. The
Okay.
alien is seated behind a glass partition in a biocontainment area, which is maintained at
Now, they're going to come in there with some
the
flashlights
lowest designation.
because the alien's going to start messing up
That's
here in a second.
primarily for the protection of the aliens, not us. The theory is that if they were going to infect us with an alien bug, it would have happened 50 years ago.
Yep. But it
In
didn't.
fact, all the indications are the aliens eliminated microbial and viral life from their own ecosystem long ago. They aren't susceptible to our diseases
No.
directly.
This is
but it
Victor who's
has been
talking right
shown
now.
that microbes can reproduce and form
This is a
colonies within the
whistleblower out of Area 51, one of like maybe 100 people on the planet to have Saber MS-12 clearance. The knowledge this man has, no one else on the planet has that will tell you.
respiratory systems, which tends to exacerbate the debilities they seem to suffer anyway in our environment. In fact, you can see here the alien is beginning to flag. The interview was not going well. The telepath was trying to
Now,
clarify some points from a
I think I'm
previous
just gonna
interview,
see-
but he wasn't receiving coherent responses.
Yeah, where is it when the doctors come in? Because then
There
the
they are.
flashlight, there you go.
I
Now
have
you
to
can
say
see a
the
little
medical
more of it,
personnel in
right?
S4 are
The
less than
flashlights will
first
show
rate.
you a
They tend
little
to be
more of
selected
it.
for their willingness to keep secrets rather than their medical competence. By the way,
Notice how the eyes have a very, very smooth cover over them. That's not their real eyes. That's a cover that protects their eyes. It also is like their version of a smartphone. It links them up with all sorts of knowledge and database that they have electronically, and it can probably do other crazy things too. Like they can take that cover off their eye, and that will have a totally different eye. They'll be underneath that. But yeah, look at that. Look at the texture, man. You can tell this is not this right here came out in 1991, my man. 1991 is when this came out. Do you think the special effects were that? No way, dude.
he's not shining that light into the eyes. It looks that way, but in fact he's checking for hemorrhaging around the eye sockets and in the nasal cavity. I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to watch this.
Yeah, it's hard for all of us because we all know the truth. All of us who've been in the same room as one of these things, we all know. These are not hostile. These are not angry. These are not violent creatures, okay? They do not want to hurt you. They want to help you, but they're not going to fucking do everything for you. They're just going to guide you in the way of religion, and it's up to you to obey and to follow that and to be able to progress to level 2 like they want you to, like you're meant to be, like your destiny is. So, okay, this is a long episode, and there was a lot of stuff we had to go into, so I apologize. But if you watch this from all the way start to finish, kudos to you. Now you know the truth. Whether you believe it or not, at least you know. And if you don't believe, hey man, you got time. Don't worry, you got time. Maybe. I don't know when we're gonna die. Who knows? But this is the way. This is the way it is. And it's a beautiful thing if you think about it. How many other creatures in this universe have an alien species that loves them and cares for them so much that it's intervening in their lives and playing God to try and give them this beautiful outcome and to evolve and elevate that species unlike ever before? How many species in the universe can claim that? I don't know. Maybe it's the majority of intelligent life that arises the way that we are, with another OG intelligent life that's kind of shepherding us and evolving us into their likeness. I don't know, but I know this: that is the deal. That is the deal. That is the way it is. Whether you believe it or not, it does not change the fact. Your government believes it. I believe it. Everyone believes it who's been in the same room as one of these things. It's just the way it is. And I want you to know the truth so you can make the best decision for you and your loved ones and your species in this planet. And on that, I bid you good night and farewell. Goodbye, good luck, and good riddance. Adios.
Like, subscribe, submit.